Hi everyone, my name's Wendy and I'm the founder of the Perianal Fistula support group Down Under. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for finding our group. I started it back in October 2020 as I found that there was no real support for my condition here in Australia. It was mainly overseas, and their procedures and lingo was different to here. So I thought, I may as well just start a group here to support us Aussies with this terrible perianal fistula condition. I'm going to be filming this in bits and pieces. So today it's Friday afternoon and a rainy old day here in Melbourne. So I thought I'll pop on and start the video. So, as I said, my name's Wendy. I live in Melbourne. I'm 56, nearly 57. No kids. I've had 2 furry babies, but now only got 1 pussycat, Wasabi. So he's my baby, and he's 16. So where shall I start? I'll start from my condition is still ongoing. So the fistula side has been going for 5.5 years, but I'll backtrack to sort of when it was meant to have started. So June, July 2015, I had kidney cancer, and I had to have that removed. Luckily, I didn't have to have chemo because it was only just contained within the left kidney. So they took that out, and I went home after a week. But the last 3 or 4 days that I was in hospital, I kept complaining of a sore back, and they just kept saying, it's the bed, hospital bed. So I went, and they were feeding me all the tramadol, all the opiates, which I just didn't agree with me. So went home, and for 2 days I was in excruciating pain in the back. And so I couldn't stand, walk, sit. Medication wasn't helping. So I ended up going back to Box Hill emergency, and they popped me in straight away and drained 800 mils of urine from my back. So what happened was they went in to do the operation keyhole, and they nicked my kidney when they were sewing it up. So what was happening is the urine was not going out the correct way, that it was just pooling in my back, or collecting in my back. So I had to have a drainage tube and a bag attached to my back for 4 weeks until the kidney healed, and when I was draining, or when the urine was coming out the proper way. So that took another 4 weeks. So in about the 3rd week of having the drainage bag, I caught a super bug from the hospital, which happens from being in there for so long. I think that's part of the reason why they want to kick you out. One of the reasons they want to kick you out as soon as they can. Anyway, so the bug apparently was in my system, and so 3 months later, I just woke up with this massive lump on my bottom, and I just couldn't sit. Oh, it was horrible. I couldn't stand. The pain was just unbearable. So I went to the doctor and he said, you've got an abscess. So I went straight to Box Hill Hospital, and they drained the abscess, and did they put a Seton tube in? I'm just having a look at my little thingos. Yeah, they popped a Seton tube in. So on the 6th of January 2016, they popped a Seton Drain in. So, of course, this is all new to me. I'm still recovering, and they ended up with my kidney operation. Even though they went keyhole, they had to cut me open about that wide underneath. When they went to sew me up, they had to quickly cut me open. So I've got a scar here about this long, and so, you know, because they've cut through muscle and nerves and whatever, I was having a lot of nerve pain, and trying to deal with that, and getting myself back on track from the kidney operation. And then I've received this abscess, and then I've got this tube in my bottom. So I had to learn how to deal with all this. Anyway, 3 months later, I had to go back into the hospital because I don't know what happened, but anyway, I had to go. It was in January, April and December of that year. I had Seton EUAs, which is examination under anaesthetic, and had Seton changes, and they were the Setons with the threads. Also in that year, so my third operation, I had a lift procedure, which I'm pretty sure most of you have had, or I think that's their after a Seton, that's their next step. Delve into it a little bit more and do the lift. So that failed. Then I had a scan on my kidney, just a routine scan. They found some kidney stone that had to be removed. So we've got that. Then in 2017, this is my fifth operation, they then decided to do a Mucosal Advancement Flap, which they call a MAF. It's not the kind of MAF, married at first sight, I can tell you that. The MAF definitely is not a beautiful marriage. So I had that, and because they go, oh look, I ended up having a lot of bowel incontinence after that operation. I think because, you know, they've gone in so deep and they've done so much in there that, you know, your muscles do become a little bit loose. So at that point I was getting really, really concerned. So this is about March 2017. I was starting to get really, and it's my fifth operation, I was starting to get so, I think, not depressed. Like, I just couldn't understand why this is happening. Nobody explained in all these operations. So from January 2016, we're now a year and a bit down the track, and I'm still so confused. Why did I get this? Because I'm not a dirty person. I regard myself as clean and tidy, and I look after myself. I just couldn't understand, but they said that because of the bug in my system that I had with the kidney, that it's probably still in my system, and made its own little way. You know how it works. Made its own little way. Instead of down the rectum, it's made its own little way through and made a track and made its nice little home there at the bottom. So it's amazing, isn't it? Like why does it happen? And I'm interested to know if anyone else feels that they've got an idea of how they got theirs and what happened before, anything medical happened to you before you got the abscess. It's really fascinating to know, or I want to know how it happens. So we're up to, now we're heading into August 2017. This is, mind you, the math failed pretty quickly. They give you the preparation, bowel preparation beforehand, a couple of days beforehand, to make sure that you're empty. I can't take any opioids, and I know this because of when I had my kidney operation, they were feeding me the tramadol and the endone and the this and that, all the opiates, and they were hallucinations, and I was so sick. So I know I can't take any painkiller but Panadine Forte. Now we know what that does. That constipates you, and even though it's so good with my pain and really works, it can cause constipation. But then when you've got bowel incontinence, for me back then, it was a good thing to slow all that down a little bit at times. I'm not a medical person, I have to let you know that, but I know my body really, really well, and I know what works, what doesn't work, and what I need to do for me. So yeah, the math failed because I was taking painkillers, because it was a big operation, I have to admit. And I'm only a year down the track, and still it's all new to me. So fearful. I wouldn't even go into, or I couldn't go to reviews by myself. I had to take my stepmother with me because I couldn't take in the information the colorectal surgeon was talking about. Also, going into the operation, you've got your date to go into pre-admission. And again, I couldn't go by myself. My stepmum would come with me and sit there before I went into the holding bay sort of thing. But it took a long time for me to be able to get the confidence to feel that I can do this on my own. I don't need anyone to hold my hand on these occasions. So then we're going into August 2017. So that's a year and a half down the track. We're going into my 6th operation, and I had a colonoscopy and a gastroscopy then, and it was my 4th Seton tube that was in place, in situ, as they say. So the colonoscopy found that I did have a weak anal muscle. So I knew that anyway. I can tell you some incidents about that. And I'm all about speaking out. I've held it in for far too long. And like a lot of my fistula friends out there. And I want to speak out, and I want to speak how I speak without having to think that I have to try and find another word to be gentle about the way I tell my story, but I don't. I'm just going to say it how it is. So because, I didn't sort of mention with the MAF that the reason that failed was because I was taking the Panadine Fort, and that made me constipated. And so about 2 days after that operation, I was so constipated. Oh, whew, it was worse than the abscess, I can tell you that. That I think didn't help the healing of the MAF up inside the rectum. So whether I contributed to it failing or it just wasn't going to work anyway, I don't know, but I just sort of feel a little bit guilty that maybe I did contribute to it, because again, it's all new to me. I don't know. I don't think about having too much fibre or, you know, all the things that I have to do, because nobody told me. There's no support. There was no liaison nurse or support nurse or somebody following me up to see how I was, or what can we do for it? Is there anything you need to know? Doing it all on my own, as you all are aware. So we're down now to October in 2017, and we're up to my 7th operation and the 5th Seton tube. So again, that failed. And when I mean failed, it means that I've had in between, because I'm going in every 3 to 4 months with something needs to be done. But in between those times, there's little incidents like bleeding or a massive discharge, or like bleeding in the toilet, constipation, bowel impaction where, you know, the bowel's not moving, become bloated, and pain. The pain is all through this because all these setons have all been threaded setons. So you've got the thread sticking out of your rectum, and then the Seton tube tends to move around, and they do say to move it around as well, because what was happening, the threads were getting caught up into the fistula or into the track and catching, or not catching, but it was attaching itself to tissue, not toilet tissue, body tissue that's healing tissue, and it was the threads get caught in that tissue, and so, you know, it was getting pulled, it was walking or any sort of exercise, or even walking around the supermarket, I found could pull the tube and cause havoc. And I still find that to this day, and we're, you know, 5.5 years down the track, so I'll get onto that. Am I skipping? Am I going too long? Probably am. So again, we've had quite a few tube changes. We've had the lift, we've had the MAF, lots of complications, having to have EUAs, continual clean outs, changes of tube. My colorectal surgeon did say to me that I'd be a perfect candidate for a Comfort Seton. So, you know, I'll get to that one as well a little bit down the track. So we're heading into March 2018, get to the 9th operation, get to the 10th. Then had a follow-up for my kidney stone, and they found lesions on my ovaries. So I had a hysterectomy over 10 years ago. and they said that they left the ovaries in the tubes. So they said your ovaries have got to come out. So this was in July 2018. So the ovaries and the tubes came out, which meant I went straight into menopause. So and I couldn't stand all these symptoms of it. Oh God, it was horrible. The night sweats and not sleeping, and I thought, I can't continue like this. I'm dealing with the fistula. I'm dealing with my post-surgical pain from the kidney, and so I've got to go on some sort of hormone replacement. So saw the gynecologist, Box Hill Hospital, and they said, before we put you on HRT, you have to have a mammogram. So just to make sure that, you don't have breast cancer. So had that, and then they found 3 lumps in my breast. So off I go, have those removed, and thank goodness they weren't cancerous. They were intraductal papillomas, but if they were left, they can form into cancerous lumps. So we've had the ovaries out, then we had the breast lumps out, and I kept going back into hospital for a lot of bowel impaction. Again, we don't know why. Maybe it was because of the Perianal Fistula causing the constipation, but I was on then Mucosal, and all the bits and pieces that you have to take to, soften your stool, to get that moving. Not checked for Crohn's at this point. So we then get on to, we're heading now down to, March 2019, I was at St. Vincent's Hospital for another kidney stone lithotripsy, where they blast the stone. So I do have a stone in my right, so I'm monitoring that one. Okay, so we keep going down, and we're going into June 2019 for some the 11th operation, and another Seton tube inserted. Kept going a couple of times in 2019. 14th operation. Then they found I had to go back again for another follow-up on my breast, and they found another couple of lumps in there again, but they said that they're too small to be removed, so we're just monitoring those. I had norovirus and Shigella. Was at Royal Melbourne Hospital in last year in February after going to Fiji. My partner is Fijian, and his mother passed away, so we had to go over there quickly for the funeral and ceremony sort of things that they do so we were there a couple of weeks, and I was in that hospital, Suva. So sick. I was sick for 2 weeks, and the day we came back here, I went straight to Royal Melbourne, and I had, I was very, very sick. I had norovirus and Shigella. So 4 days later, they got me back on my feet. Off to Box Hill Hospital again a few more times, and have more Seton tube changes. Heading into 2020, a couple more. So we're heading out to my 13th Seton tube and the 18th operation in September of last year. Heading out to... then I've been put on last year, put on the list to have another Mucosal Advancement Flap. There was talk about having a colostomy bag, a temporary one, to give the anus or the rectum a bit of a rest. So they would also do the Mucosal Advancement Flap and also the temporary colostomy bag, but a little bit not quite sure. So the surgeon didn't really want to go down that way. The colorectal surgeon didn't really want to go down that way, but it was suggested. So with COVID, operations are on the back burner. I'm still on the list for the MAF. So just had a couple of EUAs along the way, and a Seton Drain change. Then we're sort of now heading, then they started to do, I got onto the gastroenterologist. So the team are all working together, gastro and colorectal, and they checked for Crohn's disease. Now, the test that they did do came back that I was 95% or 99% Crohn's. That's what gastroenterology is saying. I had to do one more test to actually confirm it, but I haven't heard back because of COVID what that was, whether it's confirmed that it's Crohn's. As I said, I think it was 95% confirmed. Then when I had a colorectal review, the colorectal surgeon said he's not calling it Crohn's related. The fistula is not related if it is Crohn's. So that's about where I'm at the moment. I've had plenty of times when I thought I need to go back in. I can't deal with this. I had the Comfort Seton put in back in October last year. That's when the Comfort Seton was put in. So that was my 19th operation and the 14th Seton tube. So the Comfort Seton has been wonderful. They are concerned that it can come apart, but mine hasn't. It's just sort of come undone a couple of little millimeters, but it's not moved. So, and I'm not experiencing any of that pain that I was getting with the threaded Seton Drain. So this is why I'm really pushing for the Comfort Seton to be available in all hospitals, so public hospitals, because apparently it's only at private hospitals. So pushing for that to be available to all of us. I'm just trying to think what else. I might be speaking a little bit, too long, but this is, as I said, this has been going on now for 5.5 years with the fistula. It's been tough. I can tell you, it has been a hard road. It's not really been easy, and I know mentally it did get to me a couple of years ago. I just sort of found myself sitting on the couch staring into space, and it's like I couldn't talk, sort of going into like a black hole, and I just surrendered and had to go on some anxiety tablets, and that's what's been able to actually get me through. I don't know how I could have got through to today, and I'm actually patting myself on the back because it has been a long time. So, keep fighting, everybody. Keep going, and I'm begging you, if you need to, speak to me or have any concerns, please don't hesitate in contacting me. I'm really urging you to message me. And doesn't matter how small, how big it is, we can all work this out together, because this is what it's all about. It's about having that support that we can talk to, and, I can say bum, poo, you know, all this sort of stuff to you, blood, bleeding, discharge, you know, we can talk this lingo, and don't hold back. But yeah, I'm here if anybody needs my help, and I will try and do my best to help you. But please keep in mind that I'm not a nurse, I'm not medically trained, but I certainly have, you know, experience in this fistula and caper, and let's, you know, we'll do this together. What else? So, yep, been lots of times where there's been hospital runs with pain, discharge, or bleeding more so. Not the discharge, you know, sort of got that under, you know, got used to that, I suppose. But I find that the weather plays a big part too. If it's hot, you know, you get hot and sweaty down there, and that doesn't really help. It creates excoriation. Sitting too long. I can't sit too long. I actually am kind to myself, and I allow a couple of hours when I can, and when is really needed in the afternoon, to just rest on my bed and keep off it, because the pressure isn't good for it, and it will just, you know what it's like. At the moment, I'd have to say I'm having a pretty good run. You know when I'm not, because I'm in bed. That's the best way to explain it. And there's only my family and a couple of friends who know about my fistula, because it's just, as you know, it's not something that you talk about, because it's the area of our body. But don't feel shameful or anything like that, because we can't help it. We can't help it. But we can help ourselves to manage it. And we're all here for you. And I'm really pushing for some change. And as you know, I've started the charity. I just registered that last night. So hopefully we can get this charity up and running, called Perianal Fistula Association Australia, and get this up and running, and let's, you know, break the silence, and hopefully we can raise some funds for research and trials and awareness. I've got couple of people that I've approached to hopefully be our ambassador, and she's in the spotlight and has suffered with this for many years. So I'm going to finish now. We're over 30 minutes, so I hope you're not bored, and I'm sorry that I've gone on for so long, but I just wanted to, you know, show you that this can last for years. So we have to prepare ourselves for the long run. And if you're one of those that, you know, it's all done and dusted in 1 or 2, 3, 4 operations, then well done. So hang in there, and hopefully we can find the light at the end of the tunnel, and stay positive. And I say it again, please call out if you need my help or an ear. And I really, I'm urging, thank you very much to Holly for her video on her stem cell treatment. This sounds really promising. So good on you, Holly, for putting your body through this. I know you're a mum and a wife and a business lady as well. So good on you, and we wish you all the best. So please, everybody, if you can just pop on a little video. You don't have to go on 30 minutes like I have, but just to put a face and a voice to our little profile pictures, and doesn't matter. You don't have to tell us your story. You just say hi. But yeah, I'm going to try and hop on here live and do a little bit more of the videos rather than just the posts. So I haven't got any makeup on today. I just thought, nah, I've got to get on here and I'm going to do it. I don't care what I look like, and just start a video. So I wish everybody the best that are having operations today, tomorrow, next month, whenever you're having it. And all the best in recoveries and all your healing. I wish you all the best, and be kind to yourself and rest up as much as you can. And yeah, and thank you everybody for listening to me, and thank you all my fistula friends, which I really want to call, well, you are my fistula family. If you see me write FF, that means fistula family, fistula friends. Yeah, let's keep fighting and let's speak out. Love to you all. Bye.